10. Live from Channels Television. Reporting tonight, Kayode Okekiolu.
Tonight, prioritize interest of Nigerians over personal or group pursuit. The president challenges new members of the federal cabinet as it swears in 45 of the ministers following their confirmation by the Senate. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, assumes office, vows to demolish all illegal structures and restore the original master plan of the nation's capital. And Labour Party candidate in the 2023 presidential election, Peter Obi, advocates development at the local government level to fast-track national development at the party's mega rally in Edo State.
On business news tonight, global investment bank JP Morgan estimates Nigeria's net forex reserves at $3.7 billion as at the end of 2022 in its latest report on the country.
And on sports news tonight, Sha'Carri Richardson makes up for missing the Tokyo Olympics due to a drug ban to sensationally win the 100 meters women world title in Budapest in a championship record of 10.65 seconds.
From Abuja, the nation's capital, the coalition of Northern Civil Society Forum Against Corruption protests against alleged attempt to bribe a member of the Kano State Governorship Election Tribunal.
And in international news from London, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak says his government is looking to change the law following reports British nurse Lucy Letby was refusing to leave her cell for sentencing.
Almost 3 months after his inauguration, the president seems set to go full throttle on the actualization of his renewed hope agenda with the swearing-in of 45 members of cabinet. The ministers took their oath of office in batches with a charge by President Bola Tinubu for them to prioritize national interest over personal or group pursuit. He also challenged the ministers not to fail Nigerians. Our State House correspondent, Larry Lasisi, reports.
The conference hall of the presidential villa is filled to capacity. It's the swearing-in ceremony of the newly appointed ministers. They're here with members of their families, the governors, and officials of the different ministries. The program kicks off with the arrival of the president and the vice president. With them is the leadership of the National Assembly and the secretary to the government of the Federation. The first minister to have his citation read is the Minister of Justice and Attorney General. Then, in batches of 5, the ministers take their oaths of office and have a handshake with the president. The process goes on without a hitch as each minister is recognized. Done with the swearing-in process, the president congratulates them and reminds them of how the experience and expertise they've garnered could help the country.
We have the opportunity to implement long overdue reform that will improve the operations of government, transform our nation's economy, and ensure peace, safety, and prosperity for our people.
The president told the ministers to serve with integrity and dignity.
I believe in you that the government can be a positive force for transformation and a vehicle for collective progress of this country. You are not a minister of a particular state, colony, region, or ethnic nationality. You are a minister of Federal Republic of Nigeria.
The president's speech signals the end of the ceremony. The ministers share their thoughts on the task ahead.
We should expect this ministry to focus on policies and regulations that is not only there to stifle or regulate, just to regulate, but policies and regulations that will open up opportunity for more technology entrepreneurs to actually build technology businesses.
We want to ensure and see the growth of our SMEs. The SME is the lifeblood of the economy. So we are hopeful that with the ideas, with the trust of this government, that we'll see that happen.
As the newly sworn-in ministers leave this hall, they say they are very clear that Nigerians expect a lot from them and that they will do everything within their power to deliver and ensures that Nigerians experience the benefit that Nigeria can give. From the conference hall of the presidential villa, Lanre Lasisi, Channels Television News.
And almost immediately after they took the oath of office, some of the newly sworn-in ministers reported for duty in their various offices with a promise to deliver on their mandates.
After taking their oaths of office, the newly sworn-in ministers proceed to the office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation to receive their certificates of appointment. As the ministers report for duties, they are received by officials of their various ministries. The first task for most of them is to speak on their mandate as members of the Federal Executive Council.
In the next few days, we are going to enroll our plans for you. We are going to have a Ministry of Information and National Orientation that is open, that is transparent, that is also accountable to Nigerians.
Our three ministries intertwined together. We are, as I said to my sister here, Siamese triplets. So whatever we do going forward in the administration, we will make sure we do it in unison and together. I must tell you, I do believe that at this point, Nigeria stands on the precipice of greatness. We have always been a great nation, but we are literally on the precipice of greatness.
We need everybody to serve our country, but most importantly, we need our Minister of Orientation, we need our Sister Arts and Culture, and we need the other ministries to collaborate with us, because without them, we cannot serve our country. We need their help.
For the Minister of Labour, the immediate task is to resolve all industrial issues.
On the relationship with organized labour, the government through the ministry shall work closely with the NLC, the TUC, and the affiliates towards not only ensuring that all pending industrial disputes are settled amicably, but also addressing with strong determination the new minimum wage and other palliatives arising from the removal of subsidies.
The Ministry of Agriculture has the food security component as part of its mandate, and the minister, who is accompanied to the reception by Governor Babagana Zulum of Borno State, is promising to synergize with the Minister of State to deliver on priority areas in the ministry.
I'm willing to commit 100% to the service of this nation. I think we have a big challenge, but it's not unsurmountable. Our target is not only to secure and feed the country, but also to export food, which we have that potential.
Meanwhile, the Minister of Interior, Mr. Tunji Ojo, who also assumed office, wants the heads of the paramilitary agencies to brace up for the task ahead. The two ministers under the Ministry of Petroleum Resources headed straight to work as they had a meeting with the heads of the agencies under the ministry. They have their work cut out for them.
We will work by providing intentional and timely interventions to strengthen the entire gas value chain, covering gas exploration, production, gas distribution, and gas consumption, as well as gas pricing.
I'm here with one agenda, and that agenda is increase production. Increase production on a sustainable basis. And as a Creek boy, I'm here to provide the leadership so that we can go to the creeks and resolve all the problems that are bedeviling our oil production.
Clearly, the expectations of the citizens is to see how these men and women will administer policies and harmonize same for the growth of the different sectors and the nation.
Meanwhile, it's also straight to work for the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, who vowed to demolish houses illegally constructed in the nation's capital, no matter whose property will be affected. Mr. Wike, who vowed to restore the original plan of the nation's capital, also warned that land allottees who have been given certificates of occupancy but failed to develop would lose their lands. Our correspondent Gloria Mezoke reports.
Minutes after the official swearing-in of members of the Federal Executive Council, former Governor of Rivers State, Mr. Nyesom Wike, arrives at the headquarters of the Federal Capital Development Authority amidst a huge crowd. He will be assuming office as the 17th Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, and he uses his maiden media conference to unveil how he plans to address the challenges of housing and open grazing.
All those people who are distorting the master plan of Abuja, too bad, too bad. If you know you are built where you're not supposed to build, it will go down. Be a minister of anywhere, be an ambassador. If you know you have developed where you're not supposed to develop, your house must go what? Down. Those who have taken over the green areas to build, sorry, our parks must come back. The green areas must come back. And all these people who are doing land marketing. I will talk to the staff tomorrow. There are a lot of people are involved. And let me tell you, that period of land marketing is what? Over. And those that government are giving CFO land, allocated land to them, they refuse to develop. And use that they are becoming land speculators. The land is gone. I'm going to revoke them. I will revoke. Because I don't understand how your government will give you land to develop, then you keep the land land that you may have paid for 200,000. You're not going to find who will buy it for 2 billion and 3 billion. Who does that? Those of you who also refuse to pay a grand rent. Non-payment of grand rent is a breach of covenant.
The other salient challenges of street lights, illegal structures, including markets, parks and bus stops, are also high on the minister's to-do list.
Abuja is turning to be like a slum city. Sanitation is bad. So we cannot allow it. Everywhere is market. No, we cannot tolerate it. Yes, I know that things are difficult. But the mere fact that things are difficult does also mean that you will cause crisis for other people. I mean, I can't understand a city like this. Last night, I was going around, everywhere dark. Then what makes it a city? Look at people stealing manholes and this and that. Who are responsible? Who are the security people? So the issue of security is germane.
As for those querying his appointment as a member of the opposition, he has a response.
They said they're going to sanction me that I took appointment. That's ridiculous. The president wrote to every governor, 36 state governors, to bring names of people to appoint. Before this appointment came, I wrote to the National Party chairman. I wrote to the minority leaders of the House of Reps and Senate. I wrote to the zonal chairman of the party. I wrote to my state chairman. I wrote to my governor. All of them wrote me back. Accept it. I have it in evidence, documented. So thank you.
The FCT minister, who was vowed not to fail his principle, has extended the same to Abuja residents, promising to restore confidence in the FCT. From Abuja, Gloria Umezuki, Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, we'll have more on the newly appointed ministers. Plus, Labour Party candidate in the 2023 presidential election, Mr. Peter Obi, advocates development at the local government level to fast-track national growth. Well, that's in a moment. Stay with us. You're Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live from Channels Television. Here's a reminder of our top stories. Prioritize the interests of Nigerians over personal or group pursuit. The president challenges new members of the federal cabinet as he swears in 45 ministers. Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, assumes office, vows to demolish all illegal structures and restore the original master plan of the nation's capital. Labour Party candidate in the 2023 presidential election, Peter Obi, advocates development at the local government level to fast-track national growth at the party's rally in Edo State. And reports say Ukrainian drone strike has destroyed a flagship Russian long-range bomber at an airbase south of St. Petersburg. The Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Benjamin Kalu, is urging the new Minister of Works, Mr. David Umahi, to use innovative financing to address the nation's infrastructural gap. Well, the Deputy Speaker, who was speaking at a reception held in honor of the Minister of Works in Abuja, also appealed to the minister to prioritize key projects and ensure adequate monitoring to change the narrative in the infrastructure sector.
Few hours after their inauguration as ministers, families, friends, party faithful and business associates converge in this hall to celebrate with one of their own, David Umahi, the former governor of Ebonyi State and now the Minister of Works. Some of the speakers at the event extolled the performance of the incoming Minister of Works in Ebonyi State. They appear confident that he will do better in his new assignment.
When you were announced as the Minister for Works, I started imagining what the Nigerian roads will look like in the next 4 years. I was imagining what Nigerian road will look like in the next 4 years. And I envisaged a situation where people who have good cars will prefer to drive than to fly. Because of what you have done, Your Excellency, I know it will not be a difficult thing to do.
The Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives sees this as the best opportunity to put out a suggestion for the minister as it concerns his assignment.
It is important that you begin to look at other areas of raising funds. We have had people mention here that you might be struggling with funds, seeing what the nation is going through at the moment. Begin to think about road investment fund. This is a message from the National Assembly, that the office of the Minister of Works think about road investment fund. We would like to see you look into dedicating road investment fund that is similar to Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, NSIA.
The incoming minister responds with an assurance to work at bridging the infrastructural deficit.
Instead of doing a work for 20 years and set your mind on making profit of 100%, why don't we do such work for 2 years and reduce your profit? It's one of the tricks we are bringing to Minister of Works. And Nigerians will get value for their money. They are assured.
Expectations are high, and Nigerians will be watching to see how events will unfold in the days ahead.
Well, to election matters now, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the February polls, Mr. Peter Obi, has been speaking on the importance of driving development at the local government level. Mr. Obi, who was speaking at a mega rally in Benin City ahead of the September 2nd local government elections in Edo State, says that this is critical for national growth. He asked the party's candidates in the election to ensure they keep their promises to the electorate if they emerge winners.
The Edo Baptist Convention ground in Benin City, the state capital, is thronged with high-spirited supporters of the Labour Party as the party's mega rally for the September 2 local government election is set to commence.
Labour Party, the presence of one of our...
The arrival of the Labour Party presidential candidate in the February 2023 election, Mr. Peter Obi, arouses the crowd further. The Labour Party has candidates vying for the chairmanship position in all the 18 local government areas of the state. Some of them share their convictions.
We want to tell them that local government money is meant to be used for our people, not to be used in servicing your pocket and some leaders. It is meant for the grassroots. That is why the government created local government council. We will ensure that we bring development closer to our people.
The national chairman of the party makes his contributions.
I appreciate the support that you gave to us during the presidential election. Edo State scored 79%. Why we want to praise and commend Governor Obaseki for allowing this local government election to hold. We want to warn and state categorically that there must be free, fair, credible local government election.
The party's presidential candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, notes the important role local government plays in national development.
It is a system that is closer to the people, and the three most critical areas of development are health, it is in the local government, through the primary health care. Number two is education. It is through the local government. Because when you talk about education, basic education, which is primary and secondary, is in the local government. And pulling people out of poverty. As you know, today in Nigeria, there's mass poverty. And that mass poverty is in the local government.
He also has a charge for the candidates.
So those of you who are contesting, go and tell the people what you will do. And whatever you say, if you succeed, do it. No more profits and fail.
Other key members of the party, including a former president of the Nigerian Bar Association, NBA, gave reasons they believe the electorate would vote for the Labour Party in the September 2 election.
That crowd was not rented. That crowd is the people. The Labour Party is about the people, and the people understand that Labour Party is for them. And we have made them understand that if they don't come out to vote, it will be to their own detriment.
And what we have always maintained is that you cannot bring governance to the grassroots without communicating with the grassroots. That void that has been there all this while, that has made it practically impossible for successive governments to deliver to the people, is the first thing we want to preach.
From the mega rally, the party's plan is to continue its engagement with the electorate at the grassroots level.
Local government council.
Meanwhile, the ruling People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Edo State says its achievements so far is the party's selling point. Well, this comes as the PDP also ramped up campaigns ahead of the local government elections at the headquarters of Obia Southwest local government area, where Governor Obaseki told party supporters that the PDP has many more projects to deliver.
Many things they do for Obia Southwest. That College of Agriculture, 91st. Government house, make sure they see everything when we go do here. Impossible. That's why I need a reliable chairman. Chairman when they go chop money. Chairman when the youths. When go take care of the youths. When go tell me say, Governor, we're supposed to do this here. We're supposed to take care of this. We're supposed to do this. I need somebody like that. Because when I get a kind of person, progress will come. Yes. Development will come. Yes. And we're not lucky because this is not the person. This is not the person. This is not the person.
Well, let's now head over to our Abuja studios where Gloria Mezoke is sitting by with more stories on the news at 10. Gloria, it's good to see you again.
Thank you, Coyote. Well, let's shift gear to Kano State, where a group under the aegis of the Coalition of Northern Civil Society Forum Against Corruption today staged a protest over what they claimed was an attempt to bribe a member of the Kano State Governorship Election Tribunal. The protesters marched through the streets from Kofarmata to the government house, defying an earlier police ban against any form of protest in the state. According to the protesters, a member of the tribunal, Justice Flora Azinge, had allegedly warned against people trying to bribe her. Our correspondent Sadiq Ilyasu reports.
Amidst tight security, the Kano Governorship Election Tribunal convenes for the adoption of final written addresses. Police, 300 meters from the court, use vehicles to barricade for unseen events. The Kano State Police Command had earlier banned street protests.
All forms of street protests are hereby banned across all parts of the state.
The police commissioner has earlier today announced a ban on street protests. However, you can see behind me youth are protesting. They are calling for justice at the Governorship Election Tribunal. Marching from Kofarmata to the government house, the protesters bear a placard. The state governor received them at the government house.
We feel duty bound to respond to the situation, especially the unfolding political development in the state, especially with regards to the conduct of the processes in the election tribunal. It was recently discovered through a public announcement made by one of the justices of the election tribunal in Kano State that there was an attempt to induce her by some evilly minded politicians in the state.
We have listened to earlier complaints, and we want to assure you that by the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I am traveling to Abuja purposely to deliver this letter hand to hand.
The protest ends without any breakdown of law and order, as the promise by the state government to take the issue to the presidency. Sadiq Ilyasu, Channels Television News.
Still ahead on the news at 10, global investment bank JP Morgan estimates Nigeria's next net forest reserves at $3.7 billion as at the end of 2022 in its latest report on the country. But that's in business news. Do join us again. Welcome back. You're still watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television. And while a former prosecutor with the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Mr. Rotimi Jacobs, has joined the call for the release of the suspended chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, Mr. Abdulrasheed Bawa. In a press statement, the senior advocate of Nigeria cited relevant provisions of the administration of the Criminal Justice Act 2015, bordering on remand order, to show that the continued detention of Mr. Bawa could no longer be justified in law. According to him, it is obvious that the maximum period in which a suspect can be detained in Nigeria through a remand order is 56 days. But Mr. Bawa has been in detention for 68 days, contrary to the rule of law, a situation he says must be condemned by all lovers of democracy. In other stories, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Appropriations, Senator Solomon Adeola, has alleged that soldiers of the Nigerian army are responsible for the killing of his aide, Mr. Adeniyi Sani. Mr. Sani was reportedly killed at a checkpoint around Ikeja, Lagos State, in the early hours of Saturday, August the 5th, 2023. In a statement, Senator Adeola says information available to him indicates that Mr. Sani was stopped at a checkpoint around Ojodu-Bega area of Lagos State on his way to his home in Isheri by security agents who asked him to provide the documents of the car he was driving. He subsequently called his wife, who sent all the documents to his phone. He further stated that the wife called a while later and the late Mr. Sani informed her that soldiers were still checking the vehicle papers. According to Senator Adiola, that was the last she heard from her husband, and the body of Mr. Sani, ridden with bullets, was later discovered at Toyota bus stop area of Oshodi. The Nigerian army is yet to respond to Channel Television TV inquiries regarding Senator Adiola's claim. However, the 81 Division Nigerian Army says it has commenced investigation into an alleged killing of another man it's identified as Mr. Lawal, said to have been killed by some persons in military uniform on August 17th, 2023 in Lagos. In a statement, Acting Deputy Director, Army Public Relations 81 Division of the Nigerian Army, Lieutenant Colonel Olabisi Ayeni, explained that the investigation is being carried out in conjunction with the Lagos State Command of the Nigerian Police. Another Chibok schoolgirl, Mary Nkeki, has now 27 years, has escaped from Boko Haram camp 9 years after her abduction in 2014. She said her Boko Haram husband facilitated her escape after he surrendered to the Nigerian troops. The theater commander, Major General Gold Chibusi, explained that Mary was rescued by troops of the Nigerian army in Dikwa on August the 14th, 2023. He added that this brings the number of rescued Chibok schoolgirls to 16 in 2023. He was addressing journalists at the headquarters of Operation Hadinkai Theater Command in Maiduguri, the Borno state capital. Well, that's it from the nation's capital. It's back to you, Coyote.
Well, thank you, Gloria. From the nation's capital, outside the shores of the country, where Vice President Kashim Shettima has arrived in Johannesburg, South Africa, for the 15th BRICS Summit, which begins tomorrow. On arrival this evening, he was received by Nigeria's High Commissioner to South Africa, Ambassador Mohammed Manta, and South Africa's Deputy Minister for Justice and Correctional Services, John Jeffers. Apart from the main event, made up of many smaller meetings and bilateral engagements, the Vice President will be addressing the gathering on Thursday. Well, business news is next on the news at 10 with Anne Oawado.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial *894# now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Thank you, Kayode. Hello and welcome to Business News. Global investment bank JP Morgan has predicted a weaker economy for Nigeria amid a lower than previously estimated net forex reserves. Well, according to JP Morgan's latest report on Nigeria, the firm says the partial information from the central bank's audited financial accounts showed net forex reserves stood at an estimated $3.7 billion as at the end of last year, coming from $14 billion recorded in 2021. Meanwhile, the financial services firm believes it is not all gloom as the government's plan to sell down stake in its assets and the recently announced $3 billion loan to NNPC Limited could all help improve the forex liquidity conditions in the market. JP Morgan adds that it expects NNPC Limited to sell the dollars to the CBN and remit naira proceeds to the government as upfront payment for oil revenues and taxes. And let's find out latest report coming from the National Bureau of Statistics. It shows that fuel prices have risen by over 215% in the space of 1 year. According to that report, Nigerians across the country paid about 190 naira per litre for fuel in July 2022, while an average price of petrol costs about 600 naira per litre in July 2023. Meanwhile, a month-on-month breakdown reveals that an almost 10% increase in pump price of petrol from 545 naira in June this year to a little above 600 naira in July. Excos and alumni members of the business school Netherlands, Nigeria have gathered for an evening of celebration and inauguration of new Excos at the presidential dinner as the organization turns 35 years. The newly inducted first female president of the business school Netherlands, Hansatu Adigbite, lays emphasis on the organization's standards and action learning solving real problems, and developing creative, flexible, and successful business strategies. With alumni members spread across 78 countries, Mr. Adewite says that she accepts the challenge of being inducted as president.
One of the things I would do differently for the BSN alumni would, number one, be engagement. I think it's very important to engage, to collaborate, and to communicate. For me, I see this as not just a challenge, but an opportunity to scale up and give our alumni cross-border opportunities, give them opportunities to leverage on technology and scale up, give opportunities for the collaborations and just giving back to our alma mater. The advice I have for people who are not a part of the Business School Netherlands network is that a lot of people are jabbering to go for education. With Business School Netherlands, you don't have to go anywhere. You can have your international degree while you are in Nigeria, because the lecturers fly into Nigeria to take us, and then they have a lot of online sessions. But the lecturers come to us. It is not us jabbering and going to them. And I think that is also good for our Nigerian economy, and it's also good for students that don't have the opportunity to maybe leave their jobs or even leave whatever it is that they are committed to here.
We head to the equities market now. It opened on a slightly note today as the all-share index climbed 0.7% on bargain hunting at Boa Foods and Dangote Sugar all pushed it up today. Willie Bong has the details.
Welcome to the stock market report. And the bulls were able to hold their winning position from last Friday. After all the profit taking we saw last week, it was quite a bloody one, I must admit, and that's why we saw the market close in the negative for the week. But today, we see the all-share index climbing higher, up to a good start by almost 2% today, stable at 65,000, and the market cap increasing in value by about 262 billion naira. We can't go on without mentioning the two major contributors, Boa Foods and Dangote Sugar. We see Boa Foods adding 13 naira to its share price today, and that brought that stock to the top 3 gainers list. Dangote Sugar, we're keeping an eye out for that merger. John Oates saw the most appreciation in terms of price movement, up almost 10% today. It's closed at 1.59 naira, while Tantalizers was not tantalizing enough to whet investors' appetite. The market is off to a good start, and we'll watch and see as investors enjoy the ride. And that's the stock market report. I'm Will Ibang.
Thank you. We'll definitely be watching those numbers very closely. But let's check out other major markets around the world and how they ended at the close. That's Business News tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm Anne Mwawadu. The rest of the news at 10 continues now with Coyote.
Banking so easy, so simple. Dial star 894 hash now to experience it. You first, First Bank.
Well, thank you, Anne. Coming up next on the news at 10, reports say Ukrainian drone strike has destroyed a flagship Russian long-range bomber at an airbase south of St. Petersburg. Stay with us. A flagship long-range bomber has been destroyed in a Ukrainian drone strike. Moscow said that a drone was hit by small arms fire but managed to damage a plane, adding that while the destruction of a single aircraft will have little effect on the potency of Moscow's current 60-strong fleet, the operation highlights Kyiv's growing ability to strike targets which are deep inside Russian territory. Here's Simon Pusa with more on this and other international stories in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak says his government is looking to change the law following reports the British nurse Lucy Letby was refusing to leave her cell for sentencing. Letby was convicted of murdering 7 babies and trying to kill another 6 at the hospital where she worked in northwest London, making her one of the country's worst serial child killers. Sunak said it was cowardly for those who commit crimes to not face their victims' families. He confirmed that an independent inquiry would be held into the circumstances behind the murders.
I think it's cowardly that people who commit such horrendous crimes do not face their victims and hear firsthand the impact that their crimes have had on them and their families and loved ones. And we are looking and have been at changing the law to make sure that that happens, and that's something that we'll bring forward in due course.
Pheu Thai, Thailand's second largest party, has joined forces with one of the military parties it campaigned against in the May general election on the eve of a prime ministerial vote. Pheu Thai's coalition on Monday announced that it now comprises 11 parties with 314 seats in the House of Representatives. Property tycoon Srettha Thavisin, Pheu Thai's nominee for Prime Minister, will still need additional votes from senators to win a majority in the joint parliament. Supporters of the Guatemalan election winner Bernardo Arévalo have gathered on the streets to revel in his victory, blaring horns, waving Guatemalan flags and cheering. Guatemalan anti-corruption crusader Arévalo was voted in as president, preliminary results showed, a victory that until recently seemed impossible and which many voters hope will end years of rule dogged by allegations of graft and authoritarianism. Arévalo, a 64-year-old ex-diplomat and son of a former president, had a 58% to 37% lead over the former First Lady, Sandra Torres, with 99% of the votes counted. Donald Trump has confirmed that he will not take part in Republican presidential debates with his rivals in the race for the White House. The ex-president said one latest poll showed he had legendary numbers ahead of other hopefuls to be the party's nominee for the 2024 election. The 77-year-old said, "The public knows who I am and what a successful presidency I had." The first Republican presidential primary debate will be on the 23rd of August. Voting in the Republican primary election begins in the state of Iowa on the 15th of January. The West African regional grouping ECOWAS has dismissed as a negotiating tactic the announcement by Niger's coup leader that civilian rule cannot be restored for 3 years.
L'ancien président de la République fédérale du Nigeria.
The organization's political commissioner, Abdel Fattah Musa, said the timetable was unacceptable. On Saturday, General Chiani said a national dialogue was needed to lay the foundations for a new political order in Niger. ECOWAS has threatened military action to restore the ousted president. Crowds have again rallied in the capital, Niamey, in support of the coup. Somalia has announced a ban on social media platforms TikTok and Telegram and the online betting platform 1xBet. The government says these platforms are being used by terrorists and groups responsible for spreading immorality to spread graphic clips, photos and mislead society. It comes as Somalia announces an ambitious target to crush the Al-Shabaab militant group, which still controls large swathes of the country, within the next 5 months. And an intense system of weather is barreling through Southern California, where 26 million people are under flood warnings. Officials say Tropical Storm Hillary caused record rains. More rain fell in 1 hour in Palm Springs than its entire history, officials say. Hillary has since been downgraded to a post-tropical cyclone and is now heading north into Nevada. A state of emergency has been declared by California's governor, while President Joe Biden has ordered in federal aid. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thank you, Simon. Welcome to Sports News. America's Sha'Carri Richardson made up for missing the Tokyo Olympics due to a drug ban to sensationally win the women's 100 meters world title in Budapest this evening in a championship record of 10.65 seconds. The 23-year-old American stormed home from lane 9 to edge Jamaica duo Shericka Jackson, who ran 10.72 seconds, and 5-time champion Shirley Ann Fraser-Price, who clocked 10.77 seconds. Richardson missed the delayed Tokyo Games in 2021 after testing positive for marijuana at the U.S. trials. Meanwhile, Grant Holloway became the second athlete after his U.S. compatriot Greg Foster to claim 3 consecutive World 100 meters hurdle titles after racing to victory in Budapest this evening. Holloway, 25, shot out to a season's best of 12.96 seconds to win gold ahead of Jamaica's Olympic champion Ansel Kochman, who finished in 13.07 seconds. Seasoned sports journalist Didio Motoyibo and Michelle Obi wants the newly sworn-in Minister of Sport, John Eno, to pay attention to all sports in the country. They want the minister to take closer look to the development of grassroots sports and not just football. And that's it on sports. Thank you for joining us, and it's back to you, Kayode.
Well, thank you, Chris. And the main news again. 45 ministers today took their oath of office in batches with a charge by President Bola Tinubu for them to prioritize national interest over personal or group pursuit. He also challenged them not to fail Nigerians. And that's the news at 10 for tonight, everyone. Thank you for watching. I'm Kayode Obikiolu. Have a wonderful night.